Good morning, everyone. Oh, my microphone's way over here. Have to get the microphone in the proper spot. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. Today is Friday. I am tired. I had a meeting last night with a bunch of people to discuss businesses and whatnot. It was a lot of fun. I may or may not have had a little too much to drink, but we were wide awake, 6:30 a.m. for our morning Mr. James time. So, might as well be here for a little coffee. I was thinking, do I cancel a little coffee today? I'm really, really tired. But I decided, no. You know what? You have to be a responsible adult. I was the MC at the Michael J. Fox Foundation charity tournament the other day. That was a whole lot of fun. It went amazingly well. I knew a few people would be there who didn't know how to play, so I was going to run I did run a practice game before the tournament, and Michael J. Fox walks right up, sits down right next to me, and we sat and we played our trial game. It was a lot of fun. There's a comedian, Richard Kind, there, and he was funny. He decided to order a plate of bacon to his table, so we made good fun of that, because he wanted a plate of bacon. We were at a steakhouse, so it wasn't completely out of line, and to be fair, the bacon was amazing. It was a really good time. Oh, hi, Thomas. Hi, Amy. Do you want to come say hello?
Sure.
You want to be in the video? Amy's properly dressed one time. Come in. Oh, are you happy? Are you excited? Are you drooling? There's Mr. Thomas and my Amy. Can you say hi, Amy?
Hi, Amy.
Hi, Amy. Do you have anything you want to say today?
Hi, everybody. Happy Friday.
What else do you want to say?
Good luck to everyone this weekend. Have fun.
Have fun.
Yay.
And good luck to everyone. That is right. Mr. T, everyone's saying. You're Sir Thomas. You're drooling all over my office. Are you confused? He says, one daddy, two daddy, three daddies.
One daddy, two daddy, three daddy.
That's right.
One daddy, two daddy, three daddy.
Daddy. Have a good day. Do you have any advice for people today? Don't be like Jonathan and come home late and maybe tipsy. Is that good advice? If you want to keep your wife happy? I'm in the doghouse. I'm just gonna. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. See you.
Bye.
Bye.
See you. Hi, Daddy.
Hi, Thomas. Hi, Thomas. I'm lucky he didn't spit up on me. I figured he would in this time period. Okay, go.
Should we sit with you?
No, I have to go now.
Oh. You always ask me to sit with you.
Do you want? I mean, is this? You can hijack my show today. Would you like to hijack the show? Come. No, do you want it at the end? Hello? Oh, Amy. No, Amy. Amy, come back if you want. I didn't know she wanted to be in the show. She should have let me know. What are we talking about? The charity event. Charity event was great. We raised lots of money for Parkinson's research. They are very close to not a cure, but a way to make sure that nobody gets the disease, which is very similar to the same thing. At least going forward. It's not going to help people who have it now, but going forward. It was a lot of fun. I think I did an okay job. I'm not sure. You never know when you're actually doing something that you're unfamiliar with. Are you back?
I don't have a chair.
Oh, you were getting a chair. You come talk to them. You sit in my chair.
Okay.
Today's topic is it's getting thrown out the window. Today's a little Amy. Go ahead and
Hi,
talk.
everyone. We're going to try to fill the time a little bit until Jonathan gets us a chair so that we can join you for a few minutes. Jonathan had a dinner last night. He came home drunk in the middle of the night. I am trying to be a good sport about it, but he woke up our older son, James. So then James had to be put back to bed. And then he woke me up, and then Thomas woke up soon after. So we had a fun little night. But then John slept through all of it. Because when he goes to sleep, nothing wakes him up. Here, I'll switch. Well, your mat's here. So your mat's in
So
I'll get it.
just throw it away.
Yeah.
To be fair, I only woke up James because James was sleeping on the floor and banging on the door. And I decided to take James off the floor and put him back in his bed. That's it. So we're learning tax law today. Do you know anything about gambling taxes?
I don't. But to be clear, he wouldn't have woken up if John hadn't decided at 1:30 in the morning to go to his office, this room, which is right across from James's room.
It was 11:30.
And start banging and typing and drinking more wine.
I had work to do.
Yeah, he had work to do. So that's what James woke up to. He would have kept sleeping otherwise. But that's okay.
Grover says, do you have any advice for people who are going to the World Series for the first time?
Make sure you study and make sure you have enough money. Every year, John seems to have enough money, but then he gets there and he's always scrambling to transfer some more money from somewhere. So apparently it's very hard to be prepared with the right amount of buy-ins.
That is a constant issue for poker players, and the issue is that you don't want to carry tons of cash, right? So you carry enough cash for one buy-in, and then you wire the rest, or you transfer the rest to the casino, right? And every once in a while, the casino does not have your money. And that's when you have to scramble, because then you have no money. Thomas,
don't you want to be on TV?
Don't you want to be on TV?
Thomas, baby boy. Thomas, like enjoy. Thomas.
Take Amie out to a nice dinner and say thank you. Who's going to watch the babies then?
Yeah. Valentine's Day came and went. My birthday came and went. Can't seem to... I have a hard time. Maybe some of you have advice for me on how to make time for myself. I had a very hard time when James was born and I was on maternity leave to make time for myself. I was always with James. I think the longest I took was, maybe an hour once he was actually napping longer to go get a mani-pedi around the corner from my apartment.
Hey.
And for Thomas, pretty much the same thing. The longest I've done is maybe an hour to go take care of an errand. So not even something like pleasurable or indulgent or anything.
Yeah, the right answer is you go out and I stay home with the baby.
Yeah.
I'm never going to go out on a date with you again. 99% says you can buy with your credit card through the Bravo app. That may or may not be true, but I do know that in the past they had a credit card buy-in option and they charged a huge vig, 4 or 5%, to buy in on a credit card, which is absurd. Clearly don't do that. I remember a guy bought in a lot of people into a lot of tournaments, and he thought he was going to get a percentage back, right? Because he had an Amex card. They gave him 1.5% back, so he bought in $1 million worth of buy-ins without realizing that they charged you 3% or 5% or whatever it was. And then so he thought he was going to make 1.5%. Instead, he lost 1.5%. It's not a very good deal. How did the Michael J. Fox night go? It went amazingly well. It was a lot of fun. Maybe we'll have some photos coming up in the near future. But it was a great time.
Nice.
Yeah, Thomas says it was a great time. Let's see. John, you will watch the kids. Yeah, I'm always happy to watch the kids. James is going to his grandparents for the weekend.
Always happy to watch the kids, but does he have time to watch the kids? No. Always has something going on. I think we talked about this the last time I was on. He fills his plate pretty heftily.
Yeah, I have that. I guess that's a problem. I try to be too productive. I try to get stuff done. Why are you crying? What do you want?
You want to hang out?
Well, we always stay in New York City.
I would ideally like to stay here because this is where my parents are and I'm very close to them and it's where I grew up and this is where I like to be. Maybe if my parents were elsewhere or were willing to move elsewhere, we would consider going somewhere else too, but this is where we will be calling home for the foreseeable future. Oh, Big Yawn! Big Yawn, we're going to get to put you down for a nap soon.
You won't have time for yourself for a while. That's what someone says.
That's okay.
That's kind of it. It's not about us anymore. We make humans. When you make a human, you owe yourself to the human. To be fair, the human does not owe himself to us. We owe ourselves to the human. So.
Someone asked if my dad is a daycare provider. He is. He watches James and will soon be watching Thomas when I go back to work 2 days a week. And then we have a nanny 3 days a week.
Are you going to go put him to sleep, or do you want me to go put him to sleep and you take over the show? You want to hijack the show today?
No.
I'll go put him down?
Okay.
Okay.
No, nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that. All right, fine, bye.
But maybe I'll come back.
Come back.
Bye,
later.
everyone. I'm going to go for a nap now. And maybe I'll come back, but we'll see.
Yeah, Amy, you go take a nap. Thomas, come back if you'd like.
Yeah. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Today we're going to talk about getting lucky. Someone asked the topic. I got lucky with Amy. And Mr. Thomas and Mr. James. And today we're going to talk about just generally getting lucky. Someone asked what the topic was. That is what it is. All right. When you get lucky, what do I mean by that? Are we talking about when you get lucky to win a hand? No. Kind of, but no. We're mainly talking about when you get lucky in life. When you get a windfall. When you win a tournament. When you have a great cash game session. When you got pulled over for speeding and you don't get a ticket. When you randomly find a pile of money. When you get a promotion at your job, etc., etc. So these are not necessarily things based on purely luck, but they are things that you weren't really expecting that came in nicely. When that happens, what should you do? Well, first things first, you need to make sure you plan ahead to make good use of your good fortune. So many recreational poker players win a poker tournament early in their quote-unquote careers, and then they figure out a way to squander it. I'm actually in the process of coaching a guy named Blas from, where is he from? Somewhere in Europe. And he won $1.3 million on party poker, turned $5 into $1.3 million. And he's being incredibly smart about it. Like, he bought a place to live, he's invested the vast majority of it, he doesn't give himself a few $100K to play poker with. And he's not just going to start hopping into high-stakes major tournaments. And he's getting coaching, right? So he's really doing everything right. He is not squandering his opportunity. But so many people will win a pile of money and then really just straight up spend it. They don't even have the opportunity to get it back. They'll go out clubbing all night, or they will use it on drugs or drinks or degenerate gambling or shoes, or they give it all away to their friends, family, charity, whatever. When you do come into a pile of money, you need to make sure that you maintain your future earning potential. If you give away all of your money as soon as you get it, either by giving it away or losing it or whatever, you completely lose your future earning potential. And future earning potential is vitally important. Because imagine, let's say you have 100K to your name, and you're going to make, let's just say you're going to make 100K a year. If you have 100K to your name to turn over that bankroll, let's just pretend like you can somehow double it by grinding cash or something. If you give away 80K of it, doing dumb things, or again, it could even be like very good, honorable things, like giving to charity or giving to your family, whatever, you're going to lose your earning potential in the future. So would you rather give away your money that you have and your future earning potential, or would you rather have the future earning potential, right? So until you are very, very well set, you really need to keep all sort of expenses low. Now, there are some expenses you must incur to continue to maintain your wealth. Like, for example, you have to pay your taxes. If you're in America, you should make sure you continue your education in whatever field you are in so that you keep up that earning potential, right? Like, if you're a poker player, it's something else that happens to them. They come into a lot of money. They don't even give it away. They keep all of it. But then they never improve. They stop learning. And that is a reason they eventually fail, right? Because they lose their earning potential. It's very important to maintain earning potential. So let's see. Some 99% says whenever you hit a big score, always put 25% in your investment account. Make sure you're investing in smart things, though, right? A lot of people invest in things with very high fees, etc., etc. What I did as a kid is every time I won a tournament, I would buy a house. And that has worked out at least okay as a way to maintain wealth and also generate rental income, right? But, yes, whenever you do have a windfall, plan ahead. And, the next point I've written down is to remember your skill level. And, for example, with things like investing, understand that if you have a windfall from, let's say, poker, that does not mean you know anything about investing, right? I'm smart enough to know that I am not going to beat the market. Therefore, buy the market, right? Also, say you think you want to have a rental house, but you don't know anything about buying houses and you end up drastically overpaying, right? That's a big problem. Say you decide to manage it yourself, yet you are not a property manager, right? All of these things are very, very risky. So you have to make sure that you know your skill level and know who to trust with your to be the authority for you, right? It'd be like, say you want to be a backer of poker players, and you want a poker tournament, so you must know a little bit about poker, and you decide to just back all of your friends in poker tournaments, right? That's dumb. You need to make sure your friends are actually good at poker, right? And it takes a very skilled person to know this. And it's very important you remember your skill level. Whenever you do come into a pile of money, let's say you win 100K, don't just start playing $3,000 buy-in tournaments, whereas you used to play $200 buy-in tournaments, because you are not adequately skilled, right? You have to make sure you understand your skill level. It is vitally important. So Plaza says he disagrees about giving away money to charity. Now listen, I'm not saying to give no money to charity. I'm saying don't butcher yourself, right? If you make, let's say you come into 100K and you give away 80K of it, in any way whatsoever, you are drastically hindering your future earning potential. So, would you rather give 80K to charity today, or would you rather give $1 million to charity over your life? That really is the decision. So, would you rather give $1 million throughout your life or 80K immediately? It's up to you. A lot of people, they want the immediate things, right? They're not thinking long term. They think, I just want to do it all now. And then they shoot themselves in the foot and they sometimes go broke. I know one player, personally, who has gone stone broke, had to quit poker and get a job, despite having millions of dollars in winnings, because he donated a lot of his money and then time to charity. Donated his money, didn't have a bankroll. Donated his time, lost his poker skill. Now he has no money, and he works a regular job. Like, not a good job, right? And if he instead invested the money, held on to the money, instead of giving it all away, well, he'd be fine. I mean, to be fair, he probably donated $1 million to charity. Maybe that is all that he wanted out of life, right? Maybe his goal was to give $1 million to charity. He's happy as can be because he did it. But I am very convinced that person, if they did not do that, they would have been perfectly fine in the poker world, and they had bad money management is what it amounts to. That really is what a lot of this is about today, is when you get lucky, you need to make sure you hold on to your money. Let's see. The more money you have, the more you can help others. Yep, that is right. Kevin says you want to get out of debt. So debt's an interesting thing. Debt is not necessarily bad. I guess I'm fortunate to not have much debt, but if you can get debt very cheaply, it's actually quite valuable. Like, let's say you get a home loan that has 3% interest rate or something. I don't even know what a home loan interest rate is. But say you can get a very cheap loan. If you can make more of that money than you pay for the loan, then you're just going to make tons of money. Richie says some charities are scams, some of everything's are scams. Fortunately, there are grading sites for charities, and you can make sure your money's going to things that you believe in that also actually do benefit the world. You need a backer to go pro. If you need a backer to go pro, it means you should not go pro. What else do we have to talk about? Whenever you come into money, don't give it all away. You agree?
Never come into money.
Never come into money. There you go. A contentious point is, imagine you win 100K and you have a charity you really believe in. Should you give 80K away of your 100 to the charity?
I think it depends on what your personal financial situation is.
You have no money. You have 100K now.
You have no money?
Well, you have 100K now because you came into 100K. And you had a job, a regular job, not making a ton of money. Should you instead try to better your skills and make more money with your money and give away X percentage long term? or give away a ton now and then know you're just going to have no future. I know a poker player who came into millions of dollars, gave all of it away. He went over back to his home country, lost his poker skill because he stopped playing, and now he's working a $10 an hour job.
Yeah.
Despite having millions of dollars to his name at one point.
I feel like
he didn't even lose a penny of it playing poker. He gave it away.
I feel like it's important to continually reinvest in your... I mean, this is also my more risk-averse personality speaking. I think it's important to reinvest in yourself and your family and try to build up enough of a reserve to make sure that you guys are covered in the case of the, rainy day situation, which the rainy day is really the million things that are going to come up. Health bills, schooling, vacations, I guess, just all clothing, daycare, everything that could possibly come up to try to reserve some bank for that. And then, or bank some reserve for that, sorry. And then after that, once you feel you're really comfortable, then I think it's important to, then you can give as much as you want. That doesn't mean, though, that along the way you can't give little amounts.
And that's what I suggested.
Yeah, I donate throughout the year. John donates throughout the year. We try to give back, what we feel we can do for now. And with the hope that, if we're, wildly successful in the future, we'll be able to make those amounts much greater.
Brumster says, a lot of people assume when they win 100K that they want 100K. In reality, they just made their return on investments.
Yeah, it's nothing. It's surprisingly nothing. Even winning $1 million is surprisingly nothing.
I remember whenever I first met Amie, she said, if you ever win a big tournament, can we buy a super fancy apartment on this sweet park near where we live? No. I'm like, well, is that going to give me $10 million? And is that going to give us plenty of money to pay the $10,000 a month?
Right, that's the thing.
Payment?
People don't realize, well, I guess it depends where you live and what you want. There's the immediate acquisition, but then there are all the externalities and costs that come along with any acquisition that you make. So for us, buying a really sick apartment in New York City, the apartment of our dreams, maybe would be possible if John won a major tournament, but affording the monthly maintenance and real estate related expenses that would come along with that would make us bankrupt pretty quickly.
So to get a $10 million place in Manhattan, you actually need $40 million to pay for everything else.
Yeah.
What is your barometer for being wildly successful? It's all relative, right?
It's an impossible question, and I think we've both spoken to people who have a lot of money, or who we think have a lot of money, and they say that you never really feel like you have enough and are comfortable enough. Mostly unrelated tangent, but there was some new, I don't know if anyone here is watching from New York or reads Page 6, or there was something in the news yesterday about this really, billionaires. This guy Maclau got divorced. He divorced his wife of, I think, nearly 60 years or something, and then got remarried to a Parisian woman in her early 60s. He's in his 80s. Anyway, he's a billionaire, like multiple times over, and his divorce was highly contentious and was fighting with his wife about splitting his fortune with her. And I'm just thinking to myself, 2 billion divided by 2 is still $1 billion in assets and whatever between two people. How can that not be enough? And then on top of that, so one of the things that was highly contested in the divorce was this apartment they had in one of the buildings that he had helped develop. He ended up getting to keep the apartment, and on the day of his wedding to the new wife, he had hanging from the outside of the building blown up photographs of him and his new wife outside the building, which will remain hanging for a month. And his ex-wife, who lives a few blocks away and is staying at the Plaza Hotel, I guess, I don't know, either permanently or until she finds somewhere else she wants to live, will have to see their images on the outside of that building if she ever walks past it. So
you're going to do that to me one day?
Fighting over money in that great amounts and still, being a little maybe petty or immature about it. I mean, obviously I don't know the backstory. I just know what they report in Page 6. To me, it's just mind-boggling. If you ever have $2 billion and you're willing to give me half of it, I think I will quietly walk away.
I'll keep that in mind. That's the goal now.
Yeah.
Let's see. You know anything about Berkshire Hathaway?
Yes.
You ever heard of that company?
Yes.
Yes. Do you know about them?
Yes.
Amy's a lawyer, for those who don't know.
Was that just that was the question?
Someone's saying you should buy Berkshire Hathaway stock. It's a decent way to be somewhat diversified.
Yeah. It's a very diversified company. I do work for some of their, utility companies.
You work for utilities?
Yeah.
What does that mean? Explain. People want to know you.
Well, it's the same as being a lawyer for any type of company. I mean, the company has questions. Utility companies have a lot of tax questions that come up because of the work that they do. They're very capital intensive businesses, so they're constantly investing in assets and work. They need to know how to treat those investments for tax purposes, and a lot of them are also getting involved. And a lot of them are getting involved in the renewable space, which is something I work with a lot.
What is a renewable?
Well, I deal with mostly solar or wind, but it's any type of enumerated alternative fuels to your standard oil and gas. And there are a lot of state mandates that require utilities to be generating their energy from renewable based resources by a certain year, but a lot of utilities have taken on those demands themselves, and I think the Berkshire Hathaway companies are one of those companies that are really paving the way to meeting those demands and getting their utility companies on that 100% renewable target by certain years. So there's just a lot of activity in that space.
Some people seem to think that I'm asking you questions for my benefit.
Sometimes, yeah.
I'm asking for all of your benefit out there.
Yeah, well,
But I've already asked Amy's all these questions, so.
But I also asked you tons of poker questions, even
of course.
Together as long as we've been, so we can both.
You can always learn.
We can always learn from each other.
Yes.
That's true.
Dead Money says you're hired.
Oh, thank you.
I'm
actually considering looking for a new job.
Oh, goodness.
It's a tough life. John and I go through this a lot, actually. John is quite passionate about what he does. And
this is a public show.
Yeah, I know. And I think I struggle a little bit in what my passion is and where I see myself in 5 to 10 years. I think John would still see himself doing this in 5 to 10 years, just with a much bigger audience and getting paid to do it.
We've grown from 8 viewers to 8,000, so we're doing it.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get paid one day. Who knows?
Pretty good. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned that you took a test. It essentially said that a lot of it's hard to be passionate about law to some extent, or love it. It's hard to love it or really like it, doing it all the time. But it's easy to love poker and do poker all the time.
I took an aptitude when I was at my first firm. So I'd always wanted to be a lawyer. Never thought about doing anything else. Just always wanted to be a lawyer. I think I considered being a law professor at one point, but always wanted to be a lawyer. And when I went to college, went to law school, went straight to a very prestigious New York law firm, a few years in, thought, I don't think I can do this forever. I don't think I can make a 30-plus year career out of this. So struggling to figure out whether it was the law I was unhappy with or just my firm, I took an aptitude test. It was a 2.5-day exam.
Could you imagine?
They gave me all these tests, word tests, dexterity tests, sound test. I mean, any possible thing you could think of. And then at the end, it was really more of a 2-day test, and the third day was the kind of summing up the results. They give you a list of careers that they think that you would have a good aptitude for, and some of them were not surprises. I would be very good at anything that was numbers based. So
Amie has a degree in theoretical math.
I have a degree
DeMonte says that Amie sounds way smarter than me. Yeah, that's accurate.
No, we're just smart at different things. But
Amy's good at theoretical math. I'm good at actual math.
Yeah. So anyway, accounting I think was on the list, that I would be good at accounting. I would be a good journalist, because I like dig in and I like, figuring out answers to questions. I would be a good small business owner, which was kind of interesting because at one point I fantasized about having a little coffee shop, just in a small town somewhere.
A little coffee.
Honestly, I think probably everyone at some point has had that fantasy. So I don't really think that's unique or special to me. But one thing that was not on the list was lawyer. And so when I asked about that during that meeting where they gave me my results, they said, actually, your aptitudes correlate quite highly with that of a lawyer. But our job is, the thinking is that if you take a job in the fields that correlates with your aptitude, you're more likely to be happy with your work. But they found that uniquely with lawyers, even those who have a high aptitude for lawyering do not necessarily end up happy lawyering. So they did not include lawyer on my list of suggested careers, which was quite telling and depressing in and of itself. I wish they had told me that at the beginning of the 2.5 days. Maybe I would have skipped the testing entirely. But, I was foolish or not. I stayed a lawyer, just went to another firm to see if maybe it was the firm that was making me unhappy. But I think I continually think about what it is I want to do.
What about law? What drove you to law in the first place? Like, why did you want to be a lawyer? Maybe there's something else that has the same traits.
I really don't know.
You saw it on TV?
I think it was probably some... I think when you're a kid and you're thinking about what you want to be, a lot of people probably think of doctor, lawyer, fireman. I don't know. I guess there are some careers that just immediately jump to mind. Maybe I saw a TV show with a lawyer in it and I just thought that was really cool. I did have this vision that a lawyer was someone who walked into a courtroom with a briefcase and took a lot of power lunches, and I just thought that was really exciting. And that's obviously 100% not what I do. I think
maybe you're going to be doing that.
Never been on a power lunch in my life. No one's ever invited me on a power lunch. John's been to more power lunches than I have, and I've never owned a briefcase. And the only time I've been in a courtroom was for jury duty. So it's just very different. But it is a lot of strategic thinking, a lot of research, a lot of analysis. You are doing a lot of hard work with very smart people around you. So all of that I really love. And I'm sure that exists in a lot of other industries. I've literally never given myself the opportunity to think about where else that would be. And so, I'm nearing 40.
No, you're 19, I thought.
I'm 37.
Oh my gosh.
I turned 37 last week. But I don't think it's ever too late to figure out what you're meant to do. So I keep my eyes peeled, and in the meantime, I keep doing good work for my great clients, because I do like what I do. I just feel like there might be something else out there.
The grass is always greener.
That's the other concern I have, is that maybe I'm looking for something that I might not be able to find. But I think that fear probably stops a lot of people from trying something new.
You should always try things new, because quite often, worst case, you can go back. Not always, but... Not always, but quite often you can. Why don't you play poker? You have played poker. Amie final table the last tournament you played.
It was a charity tournament. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
It was one of the most major poker tournaments, charity poker tournaments that take place each year. It was huge. Eric Seidel was at the final table. David Einhorn was at the final table. And Amie was at the final table.
Why don't I play poker?
Because we're trying to not go broke. That's why.
I also don't think... You tell me. I actually don't think I'd be a good poker player.
We'd have to try.
Yeah.
I think you learn...
But what does your gut tell you?
Depends on how hard you want to study. How hard you want to work. It's a math game.
Have you ever seen someone who has no poker face at all successfully create a poker face?
I don't know. I think if you try, it's not that hard.
Yeah,
it's a matter of disassociating the result and what is happening in front of you with your emotions and your feelings. You have to just not be emotionally attached at all.
That's true.
And I mean, at work, right? Sometimes you just have to be emotionally unattached. Maybe. I don't know.
But
and you just do the work.
But at least at work, I'm in my own office, and if I need to cry or yell or get emotional, I can do that in the privacy of my office. Like, I hang up the phone, or the call that I'm on ends, or I've sent out the last work product, and then I can kind of take a breather by myself. When you're at the poker table, you're exposed the entire time. I mean, you have your 5-minute breaks to go to the bathroom, but that's not exactly... I would have to definitely work... That's something I know I would have to work on in terms of poker. I think... But also I don't have that kind of. John's always liked games and figuring out games. And I think I've always wanted to be someone who liked games and figuring out games. Because growing up, I played a lot of games with my family. But I don't think it ever grabbed me. Well, I don't think, I know. It never grabbed me the same way that it grabs John. So I look at John and I say, that's someone who's doing exactly what he should be doing with his life. But I don't think he looks at me and says, that's someone who belongs in poker.
Yeah, that's right. I don't look at Amie and say, I have to get her into poker.
Yeah, that's true.
That is not...
If he ever did say that to me, I would trust his instincts 100% and probably drop everything and start learning poker. But he has never once said to me, you need to be doing this. You would be really amazing at it.
Well, the issue is that you have other skills, right? If Amie had nothing else going on in life, she was not a lawyer at a good law firm making good money in New York City, then yeah, maybe we'd consider it. If you're making $30K a year doing something you really hated, then yeah, sure, let's give it a whirl. But the issue is that you do too well. That's kind of the problem. Once you get into something that you're doing well at, it is hard to drop that.
They call it the golden handcuffs.
Oh, Amie has we have the, not necessarily gold, maybe they're chrome. We have the chrome handcuffs on.
Plated.
The leaf gold plated handcuffs. Make goldly? I don't even know.
You're switching a lot of your words today.
That's what happens when you're hungover, Amie.
Mm.
Are you hungover too?
No.
Oh.
I can't remember the last time I was hungover.
Amie doesn't drink. I wish I didn't drink. Go ahead.
What?
What are we talking about?
Oh, where do I look?
You look wherever you want to look. Let's see.
Is there a reason one couldn't wear a mask at the table?
It's not allowed.
Right, wasn't there an issue with those hoodies that zipped all the way up?
There are some hoodies that zip all the way up, and they're like eye holes in the hoodies, and those are not allowed. Also, you can play online poker. Amie has played online poker. You used to have an account at PokerStars, didn't you?
When we first started dating, John set me up with an account at his training website, Float the Turn. I think I literally never logged in. But I was so impressed that this guy was creating a login for me to his paid training website. I thought that was really cute and sweet. And he also set up a PokerStars account. Oh, no, wait, I had the PokerStars account when we met, right?
Maybe I funded it. I'm not sure.
I put like 20. No, you didn't fund it. It was $20.
Yeah.
If you funded it, let's not make.
I funded your whole PokerStars account. It was really, really a lot of money.
Bankrolled me.
Yeah.
I put maybe $20 or something into PokerStars, and I think I got it up to $25. And I was able to cash out before Black Friday.
You could be one of the biggest winners in poker.
Yeah.
Let's see. People are saying you could wear ski goggles, wear a disguise, etc., etc. I mean, look, all of that's... it's like stuff you can try, stuff you can do. I mean, I don't know. Like, that's not what we're trying to accomplish in our life. If Amie's going to be a poker player, she's going to be like a good, legitimate poker player, not a fish, right? Otherwise, we're not going to do it. Do we have joint accounts or separate accounts?
Someone asked that?
Yeah.
Where's that?
It was on Instagram. You missed it.
Oh. Separate. We have separate accounts.
Separate? Otherwise, Amie would go crazy.
I would
saw the swings of my account.
I don't even know that it was ever a question to get a joint account. John, I mean, I've always had my own account and my own name, and John has his business stuff and his poker stuff and money going in and out, and it's so much easier for me to keep mine. And we don't mind sharing this. I think the way we do it is that all of our fixed expenses that we, our living expenses related to the apartment and whatever else runs through my account, because those are fixed things, and so we can plan ahead for those things because we know how much money is coming in through my salary and how much money needs to come out every month. So my account takes care of that, and his account takes care of everything else. So all the other variable expenses that we have month to month, and
also I try to invest a lot of stuff, so like our kids' savings accounts and stuff, like our kids' college accounts and stuff like that. I fund, and Amie takes care of the things you would consider bills, right? You take care of the natural bills. I take care of everything else, and a lot of that money gets dumped into investments and stuff like that maybe we'll see, maybe we won't see. In about 30 years, we'll either be rich or we'll be broke. Actually, we'll have all the expenses paid. We'll have an apartment in Manhattan.
Yeah, right.
So we'll be rich.
Yeah.
But
we keep our accounts separate.
Yes, we keep our accounts separate. Which of my book are best sellers? In theory, all of my books are best sellers because they were all number one on the chart on Amazon in the poker section. But
what about New York Times bestsellers?
I have no New York Times bestsellers, unfortunately. But that is not the requirement to be called a bestseller. You have to be at the top of a major ranking, and an Amazon category is considered that. So whenever someone says they're whenever someone says they are a best-selling author, it means they made it to the top of only one category in Amazon, which is not hard to do, especially if you're smart about your categories, because some categories don't sell very many books. So a lot of people game it. I don't game it. I actually pick real categories like gambling and poker, but a lot of people will game it and pick categories like a ridiculous category where no one buys books.
There's a lot to be said, by the way, for people who are able to be successful because they find a way to game the proper systems and be strategic about what they do. It happens in every field. I mean, every one of you listening probably knows someone who has been successful in that way. And it's... Sorry, that was something that was on my mind yesterday when I learned about a promotion someone I know had gotten, and she's a fraud. She's such a fraud.
Oh, we won't delve into that too much. Do you say anything when I take $10,000 out to go play a tournament? No, Amie doesn't say anything about my poker play.
No. At
all. Amy's never said anything about my poker play. And I guess she trusts me to be responsible, which may or may not be a good decision. Let's see. How do you approach the very beginning of a tournament, Amie?
Me?
Oh, in terms of diet / mentally once you sit. Look, I don't even think in terms of, I need to get in the right mindset to do this. I'm quite decent at playing poker at this point to where I generally just show up and play well.
Well, that's not true. That's not true. You will often, before tournaments come, you'll say, I'm going to cut out wine, I'm going to go back to the gym, I'm going to cut down on my caffeine intake. There are things that he tries to do in order to get back into shape. Now, arguably, those are things he should have been doing all along in terms of just having a quality life and being healthy. But the last several months, I think we've fallen off the wagon.
I haven't had to go play poker. We've been dealing with kids. Whenever things are mildly stressful or very stressful, you always will lean on your vices, whatever that is. And you'll often revert to your more animal behavior. Fortunately for Amie, her animal behavior is a very well-to-do human. My animal behavior
That's my vice.
My vices are everything, and I'm a bit of a disaster. Maybe we'll learn one day. Did my parents teach us or read books on life lessons? I remember my dad used to always say, attitude is everything, and I always thought he was an idiot, but it's very true. The way you see things is vitally important. If you see the glass half empty, it's empty, right? I mean, it really is that easy to some extent. What are your thoughts on this? Because you have this issue sometimes.
Yeah. No, it's attitude is everything, and I think something my dad always taught me was patience. I tend to be an impatient person. I want to figure everything out now. I want to know exactly how things are going to work out and plan ahead as much as possible because I don't want to be surprised or look back and think that I could have done something to affect an outcome that I didn't take action on. And I think something my dad always instilled in me was to have patience and, kind of take your time and wait things out, and things don't always happen for you immediately. And that's a very hard thing to teach to a very anal, sometimes uptight type A personality. But it's an important lesson to learn.
Eventually, all these lessons, you may not get it for years and years and years, but eventually you'll figure it out. And I was a very unhappy person for a very long time, and I had a bad mindset. And I did not get a good mindset until I was 20-something, right? And I don't even know how it happened. It just happened. Are we going to have any more kids?
I don't think so. Do you want more?
We need to get a bigger apartment. So if someone wants to give me a bigger apartment, we'll consider it.
I'm happy with 2, though. I think 2 close in age, I think is going to keep us quite busy and quite happy for many, many years. This question has actually been coming up a lot because Thomas is already grown out of his bassinet because he's massive. already blown through all of his newborn, 3-month, and even some of his 6-month clothes. He's not even 3 months old yet. So the question has already become, what do we do with all the stuff that we're now done with our second child? Do we hold on to it or get rid of it? I want to hold on to some stuff just in case a friend has a baby and needs it. But some of the bigger items like the bassinet that are harder to store, we may just need to start donating now. Did you want more? What do you think?
I never really wanted or not wanted kids, I don't think. Like, I was never driven to that in a very hardcore way. Now that we have them, I'm very happy with them. But I'm generally a content person, I think, for the most part. I don't want things so much.
I think 2 will be good for us.
2's plenty. Let's see. You have a friend who wants to put you in a $1,000 tournament. What is a fair split? Well, in theory, you have to ask, what is your edge? Would you have played it anyway? Do you think you're going to win money on average? If you're a losing player, you should give your friend all of the money and be happy to play for the experience. If, in general, though, you want to ask, what is your ROI? Let's say you think you're going to have a 30% ROI. You should give your friend half of that, roughly. So, if you're going to buy in, your friend's going to buy you in completely, you should be giving them something like 90% of the money. A lot of people don't like that. They think, it should be 50-50. Absolutely not 50-50. If you do that, you are hosing your friend. I got lucky and I need you in my life to keep me in check. That's definitely true.
He keeps me in check, too.
How much time did I spend studying when I was studying a lot? To be fair, I still study a pretty decent amount.
He studies every day.
Every day.
Every night. Even if it's not studying poker, he's studying other things that I think end up applying to his poker life as well. Like
poker
you study
or
a
business.
lot about you study a lot about investments, about politics, and I think a lot of that also helps drive your discipline in poker as well.
Brian Williams did not watch my most recent episode of Little Poker Advice. I'm playing a tournament today. Do you have any advice? Too late for that. You should have studied a long time ago. Let's see. How did I handle telling my parents about poker? I mean, I presented, whenever I was going to go quit college, I'd already quit my job. I guess when I quit my job, I had to essentially start presenting data to my parents. I showed them very consistent results, essentially proving that I'm a consistent winning player. I was playing sit and goes back then, and the bankroll was really just going nice straight up. And I was playing a game with low variance with an edge, right? And that's what you want to be doing. So I had lots and lots of data. If you are straight up gambling and you don't have consistent earnings, your parents should have a problem with you quitting college or quitting your job to play poker, right? I mean, if it's like someone says they want to drop out of college to do something that they may or may not be good at, it's just not a good idea. So you definitely need to make sure you're a very consistent winner. And that is way easier. It was way easier to do in the past because you could play online poker all day, every day. Whereas now, in America at least, it's way more difficult. You just can't put in the volume you used to be able to put in. And volume makes variance irrelevant because you get to the long run. And also, it becomes very clear if you're a winning or losing player. And now, people want to play live poker and they make like $30K in a month and they think they're the best poker player ever. But in reality, they're just getting hit by the deck, and the next thing you know, they quit college, they go broke, they can't get back in college, et cetera, and it's a disaster. So make sure you're a winner, and if you can get a degree, get your degree.
Brian Williams says he does study, he watches your videos every day. So now what advice would you have as he walks into a big tournament?
Amy thought my advice was really harsh, I can tell.
I did.
Listen.
Thought it was quite nasty, actually, and dismissive. These are your fans. This is our extended family. You have to love everyone.
I knew Amy would do that, and that's why I was so harsh about it. Sorry. We just have to poke her a little, you know? So,
poke back.
Listen, if you're going to go play a tournament, realize it's just another tournament. The fact that there's a big guarantee does not matter. The fact that it may be a bigger buy-in than you're used to does not matter. At this point, all you can do is make sure you're in a good mindset and go and play your best. That really is it. You can't get psyched up and lose your mind.
Pee before you sit down. Have a snack with you in your bag, whether it's like nuts or a granola bar, a small bottle of water. Try not to check your phone too much and just relax and enjoy. Show up a few minutes early so you can get into your chair and just kind of get a little, comfortable so that you don't feel like you're rushing and then your mind's racing when you start playing.
That's a very, very good advice. I should have given that advice. I'm glad you're here today.
Okay. You got lucky.
I'm going to recall that. I got lucky, you're right. When you get lucky, be happy. Jonathan can be quite harsh. Hard truth is quite good for poker players. Mm-hmm.
But that's also, I think, one of his greatest assets. He will never blow smoke up anybody's butt. This guy does not know how to do fake small talk. It's always just write what's on his mind, as honest as it can be. You always know exactly where you stand, and that's, I think, to the benefit of the people who seek his wisdom.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I have people who email me or ask me for coaching or whatnot, and very often the answer is, you need to stop playing poker because this is not good for you and for your life, right? I mean, not often, maybe 15% of the time or so, but it's a real number.
And that's selfless advice on his part, because obviously it benefits pros to have more amateurs who don't know what they're doing join the game and, be willing to splash their money around. So John's willing to keep the field tighter and more difficult for himself because he values the fact that these are people's lives that are potentially going to change based on these decisions of whether or not to go professional. And it's part of the reason why there aren't why a lot of other poker players don't go into coaching. They don't want to make the fields better and tighter for them.
I want to help people who want to better their lives. And at the end of the day, if the best advice for a person is get this activity out of your life, then it is what it is. Mr. Thomas is crying.
I'll be right back. Maybe.
Okay. Maybe. Show's over in 5 minutes. Come back if you can. Yeah, it's very important to give good advice to people who trust you, right? I mean, you see this on YouTube all the time. So many people give blanket advice that legitimately ruins the lives of their audience, and they don't care because they are just trying to make money. And, I mean, of course it's nice to make money, but at the same time, you can do it in a way that does not ruin the lives of your fans. I mean, so many poker players out there on YouTube make claims like you need to invest all your money in this next new hot thing. You saw this with cryptocurrencies, right? So many poker players got wrecked because they thought it's the next big thing. And they jumped on the bandwagon late and they got screwed. And the person giving the advice doesn't even care because they're making money all along the way off of their user base. And it's very important to understand that the people you follow are giving... You want to make sure they're giving advice that is actually beneficial for you and not just purely beneficial for the person giving the advice, right? You need to follow good people. Don't follow frauds. And again, it's very important, we mentioned this earlier, that...
Sometimes hard to know which is which.
It is. And you don't know until they screw you. And it's a tough thing. But if someone is good at poker, for example, realize that does not necessarily mean they are good at other things like investing, right? Or if someone's a good lawyer, that does not mean they are good at taxes or, things that may be related. And it's important to understand the differences. And really, you need to go seek expert advice on things that you're actually trying to get advice on. Don't take a poker player's advice on, let's say, investing necessarily, or don't take a accountant's advice on health, right? I mean, sure, they may know something about it, but they're certainly not professionals most of the time. So be careful. There's a poker player out there that told everyone to put all of their money into this one very speculative investment, and then they all went broke. And it doesn't seem like a good idea to me. No, bad idea. A lot of people think they know way more than they do. It's important to realize you do not know much. You know who Ben Shapiro is?
Mm-mm.
I don't either. Says I remind them of them. Let's see. Made it to day 2 of a tournament. Good job. Good luck. Let's see. We have anything else to talk about? We have to wrap up. We have 3 minutes left. You want to have anything you want to say? Have you ever been lucky? Oh, our meeting was quite lucky. She randomly walked up behind me and I chatted her up, which I literally never do. And, well, here we are.
And our 2 boys.
And our 2 boys. Do you have any other instances where you've been lucky in life or anything? That you think are useful?
I have 2 incredible parents, but that's just... Don't know what I would do without them.
you don't get to pick a lot of things that happen to you in life. You really don't.
That's why it's luck.
It is luck. I mean, to be fair, if you're holding a smartphone now, you are incredibly lucky, right? If you're on a computer, you are incredibly lucky. In terms of all humans who have ever lived, you have like more computing power in your hand than any of them. You have more opportunities than any of them, and it's up to you to make the most use of it. And if you squander it, then that's on you. Everyone out there has plenty of opportunity. If you think you don't, well, you're wrong. Almost everyone out there has some sort of hobby that they are great at, that they could be using their knowledge to benefit other people. Mine happens to be poker, and I try to help people in that way. Let's see. Everyone's saying, thanks for everything we do. We all do our best. Do you all want more Amie or less Amie next time? That's a good question. I think you're good in small doses.
Yeah. Last time I was on here, I was in labor and didn't know it. So that was a fun session.
Ben Shapiro is a Harvard graduate. I know a Harvard graduate.
Yeah, sorry. Maybe I would know him by face from his show, but not by name. We'll check him out.
If he's your age, maybe you went to the same classes.
Yeah, maybe.
Ha. Let's see. More Amie. Yes. Is it luck or destiny? I don't know. I try to not make distinctions between being lucky or destiny or all these things. I try to not worry about things that don't matter.
But destiny assumes there's some like predetermined plan, right?
I think so, but does it matter?
No.
It's like all hypothetical. I try to not worry about hypothetical things. A lot of people say, oh, is poker luck or skill? Like, it is what it is. Obviously, there's skill involved, and obviously there's luck involved. Accept what it is and move forward with your life productively. I can be harsh sometimes. I'm sorry for this. Actually, I'm not sorry for this. That's why you all love me. All right, it's time to go now. Baby's crying. We've been here for an hour. Have a great weekend. Have a great Friday. Be nice to someone. Tell someone you love them.
I love you.
I love you. I have a little bit left. Yeah, have fun. Be nice. I'll talk to you on Monday. Thanks for being here.